hanging on to the roles that we once played or the things that we once did. And when you put that all aside, which is super difficult to do, what's left is the true you. And it's not, I'm a welder or a singer or a snowboarder. You know, those are just the roles that we play. What you are is just consciousness, and that's it. You just are. You know, the roles are not you. Hello, friends. I'm proud to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Canadian Legacy Project. Veterans Affairs Canada is very limited in its service offering to veterans, so the Canadian Legacy Project has stepped up to fill the gap. CLP develops and delivers a full suite of free programs for Canadian veterans. CLP celebrates our veterans by offering meaningful support for healing and the transition to civilian life. Homes for Heroes, Business Boot Camp, Service Dogs, educational bursaries, equine therapy, and more are available through the Canadian Legacy Project. Find out more at CanadianLegacy.org. Hello, all you beautiful souls. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Operation Tango Romeo, the Trauma Recovery Podcast. On this show, every now and then, I get some special forces folks, and today is one of those days. So today we have Gord Hurley. There's just a few of us out there that are moving and shaking and putting our names out there and put our heads on the chopping block, trying to make a difference for others, and Gord is one of those guys. Gord Hurley, the founder and CEO of the All the Way Factory, the founder of the All the Way Foundation, producer of Advanced Force Operations docuseries, co-founder and chief marketing officer of Stronghold Wellness, and a CanSoftCom veteran. Brother, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me. I know we've been circling each other for quite a while, so I appreciate it. I'm happy that I'm finally able to get on.
It's too bad I didn't see you in Ottawa. Would have been good to connect with you one-on-one. We've both been to committee. Tell me how that started. Like, how many times have you testified at the Standing Committee of Veterans Affairs?
Just once last fall. And that just came about, I think, from, like you said, putting ourselves out there, being a voice in the room. And I forget who was, Blake Richardson.
Richards,
his guys. Yeah, Richard, the shadow minister. So they reached out to have me in and speak, and I went in and did that. And one of the females that came on my last documentary was one of the people that was speaking at the same event. So it is what it is. Those things, it's like, I'm very disillusioned. I don't know if the right word, or maybe the reality of what the government actually is capable of compared to what they want from you as the veteran to go up and do your song and dance. And it's like, okay, for us, that's a really big deal to put ourselves out there. And then for them, is it just a talking point, or is it just another reel or a clip? Because what is the result of these things that we're going to? That's kind of what I've found so far with politics, is where it's just like, I'll do it, but I think my focus can't be on thinking I'm going to change the government.
No, I've shown up 3 times now. Or is it 4? 3 for sure. And the first time made a difference. The first time actually created some change, because that's when there was another Special Forces veteran that came to me with recordings of when he was offered MAID, when he was just asking for help for a TBI. Well, we can't help you, but we can kill you. And of course, the Liberal government went into a tailspin. No, this is a one-off. It's not happening. No. It's just some rogue event. No, it was policy. I pretty much proved that, but they just ignore it till it goes away. And I believe it's still going on. Veterans are still calling for help and still being offered MAID, but I haven't had anybody come to me in a while. But because that became such a big story, it was international, man. Like, I was in probably 50 different newspapers over that. And still, all they did was bury it. I think they backed off for a while, But it is my belief that it's still going on. They're still trying to kill us, for God's sakes, instead of help us, because it's much more affordable. It's just bizarre. Like, how do you convince a Veterans Affairs employee to do that, to offer MAID? Just like, would you like fries with that? Like,
Yeah, I've spoke to 4 different veterans who've been offered it, and it's like
awesome, good times.
it's yeah, it's lifted the veil on a lot of people. Are like, no, that's a one off. No, that only happened once, and that person was fired, and this and that, and it's interesting to be in the position to be like, well, I spoke to them. Like, I had a buddy reach out because Pierre Polyev wanted to speak to them, and uh, I made a Facebook post. I think it was last fall, maybe it was early this year, because I'm like, hey, if you want your shot to talk to the government and tell your side of the story because these guys don't believe it, then here it is. And it was, I spoke to 4 veterans out of that, and none of them
So
wanted to speak to the government.
for the 4 that you spoke with, Gord, like, what were the circumstances under which they were offered MAID? Like, what was the situation? Was it the
I
same
would
for
have
all
to like,
4?
yeah, basically, it's all like it's weird offering of it. That's what I'd have to say. Where it's just like, hey, I have depression, I don't know what to do, blah blah blah, and it's like, well, have you thought about MAID? And then, yeah, it
It's fucking
very.
diabolical, man. Like, what do you do other than laugh? Was
I
David
just think they're
Baltzer one
just
of the
reading
guys you
their
spoke with?
who?
David Baltzer, was he one of the 4?
No,
Okay, so
none of them
that's,
wanted to come forward either. Which was like, I
yeah,
found out because I went in very naive, being like, hey, I know this happened. One of my good friends got it offered to him. So, like, I know that this has taken place, but are there more people? And I didn't know. I don't know. It's such a weird subject to talk about. I find
it
it's like
is.
very taboo because of how much uh, media has been put behind it and spin on it, that it was only a one time deal and we shouldn't, that's not actually what's happening. That it's very, very strange. I don't know. It makes me think of conspiracy theories. Every time I spoke to one of them, it felt like I was reading like a Tom Clancy book or something,
Yeah,
where I was like, there's something happening underneath that no one's talking. I don't know if that's like NDAs, new types of payouts. This is all me talking Gord. None of them told me this.
there were 2, including veteran number 1. There were 2, um, the first guy and David Baltzer, that were so upset about we can't help you, but we can kill you. They were so upset that they left the frickin' country. They left the country. They were so upset about it, and the other 2 were none too happy as well. They're pretty disheveled. Like, wow, this is what I mean to you. I
Right.
serve my country. I risk my ass. I get injured, and you offer to kill me instead of help me. You fuckers! Like, it's out of a nightmare for the ones that you've spoken to. How did it affect them that they were offered MAID instead of help?
Basically what you just said, where it
Yeah,
was just more of astonishment and couldn't believe that they would ever be offered that. And it was just more disgust. Like when you said, oh, those 2 people left the country. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. I wouldn't doubt it. Like, what is.
my own country wants to kill me and said so.
Yeah, it's very confusing. It isn't confusing, but it, like, when you look at it and you look at it logically to make it not confusing, then it's like, I think you said with the word insidious, where it's like, what is the what are we getting at here? Are we trying to literally, are we trying to save money? Because this will save a lot of money if someone kills themselves now and instead they're not a part of the system for another 40 years, then yeah, you're going to save a bunch of money off them.
All the work that
But
you
damn,
do,
that's
Gord, like think about all the different agencies. Like, since 2019, I've been talking with, from mom and pop shops to giant clinic chains to, you name it, all kinds of doctors, like double PhDs, all trying to prevent suicide, all trying to help people who are struggling to avoid suicide. And here's the government doing the opposite. Like you can't suck and blow at the same time. Are you trying to prevent it? Are you trying to encourage it? And suicide contagion is a real phenomenon, and it's
Hmm.
very, very well documented. Like when there's a string of suicides in Japan is a good example. Like there's this patch of forest where people just like to go and finish themselves off in this particular forest. It happens all the time. Or the Golden Gate Bridge. When you see others doing it, you think, oh, okay, I guess this is perfectly acceptable and reasonable. When the government officials, when the place you're going to for help is flying this as a viable option, dude, I can't even imagine how many more suicides are going to happen as a direct result. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's the biggest thing I tell the community when guys pass away like that is, hey, like everyone's radar needs to be up and really dialed into like what's happening in the community, because when one guy does it, then it almost is like a permission, or if they can do it, then like it almost emboldens them to do it. We're like, well, they did it, so like why not? So I get really freaked out whenever we start having suicides in the community or suicides in general. I'm always like, uh-oh,
There's one
here we
guy, I
go.
think he was a reservist. It was he went to the Edmonton legislature and emptied his brains onto the steps. That's that kind of public self execution has happened in different American VAs, where right in the parking lot they're just so frustrated that they just can't do it for another second, and they off themselves in the parking lot of the VA, or right in the office, like right at their desk. I knew had a guy on the show where, or was God, this wasn't a TV show, was it? Am I getting mixed up? No, I think it was one of my guests that said that a cop right there at his desk in the cop shop and emptied his skull right there. It's it's a hell of a thing, and imagine what that does to everybody around you. You know, like suicide does not end the pain; it only ends it for you. It just
Right.
you spill it onto everybody else. Now everybody else is carrying that weight and then some.
Yeah, it's very final, and it's that sounds stupid to say, but I think it's a 90 percentage is suicides happen from family altercation. So some sort of like fight happened within your family or your spouse. And
Yeah.
it's not like to have that type of ending to a fight, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna like prove my point, how much you've hurt me by doing this action. And it's like that is not it's not the way to do it. It's not.
They, you know, and I'm sure some of them that's what's going on in their head. I think in our community though, Gord, I think a lot of it is falling on the sword. Like the day I asked for help, I was down on one knee, knife hand out, jacking up my 9-year-old boy because the crumbs fell off of his plate. Like there was absolutely zero reason to be upset. And I'm fricking jacking him up, you know, and I watch his face melt right in front of me. Like, and I could see it was like an out of body experience. I could see that I was hurting my kid. I could see I was doing damage. I couldn't fucking stop until my wife came and did a pattern interrupt. She put her hand on my shoulder and said quietly, "Mark, they're just crumbs. We can clean them up." And all of a sudden, I just understood that my kid was not the problem. I was the problem. I was the asshole. Now, for the people that come to that point where they realize, oh, fuck, I'm the problem and I can't stop being a problem, I don't know what to do. And if they don't think that there's any hope whatsoever through VAC or the Legion or whichever, if they don't see any hope, they fall on the sword because they don't want to hurt their family anymore. They know that they can't stop. And so they figure, well, you're definitely better off without me because I'm such an asshole. I would, I mean, there's no way to know that stat, of what percentage that is, but it's definitely a chunk of guys and women that off themselves is to fall on the sword to protect their family from themselves. I would wager.
Which is, yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It makes it easy to do the psychedelic stuff that I do and to champion it and talk about it. It's like, okay, if you're in that much of a state and you've already done the 56 prescription drugs from your regular doctor, then what is the difference with coming to do some medicine or some drugs with Uncle Gordo? You know what I mean? Like, you're that where this is where we're at. These are the decisions that you're contemplating, but you're not willing to go try something else. And I think with psychedelics, it's like I can not goat guys, but I can get them like more motivated at least, because it is so far around and it is so non-standard that, and it's so intense, and the stories you hear about it are crazy, and it's a very intense process to go through. But when I put that back onto a soldier, it's like, hey man, like I just need that one little bit part of inside of you that is still willing to try, is still willing to fight. And I know that it's in you because you're a soldier. And it's like, I can find that the psychedelics is enough to get people to buy in, to just be like, fine, yeah, I'll try it, because there's been so much social media and so much buzz around it. So it kind of gets them in, and then the medicine
Psilocybin
does its
has
own work.
been probably the most promising thing I've ever done. Um, Cannabis, I use at night quite often because it's the only thing that got rid of the nightmares. And what was crazy, years of going to the OSI clinic, and nobody ever explained to me why I was having the nightmares. Like, what the? There is so much incompetence in the system. Like, it would have helped so much just for me to understand why. Well, it's because the cortisol is still pumping. It's because my nervous system is in fight or flight and can't take the foot off the gas. So when I go to sleep, the cortisol is still pumping, and the nightmare is just a manifestation of being in fight or flight, even in sleep. That's why they're nightmares. So if you can relax the nervous system through stellate ganglion block or psychedelics or cannabis is what got me over the top. Took months and months to figure out just the right amount and just the right type so that I didn't have a cannabis hangover in the morning. But frick, it works. And now I sleep, almost never have a nightmare. Like, they're really rare. I went from every night guaranteed, vivid nightmares, like horrible ones. Sometimes I was up 2-3 times a night in a jolt, with my heart pounding 2-3 times a night. It was fucking exhausting. I went from that to it almost never happens. So yay cannabis. Um, but there's still such a stigma with anything that a doctor isn't that doesn't come in a pill bottle. It's like, okay, oh, so opiates are fucking fine. Like, you're totally cool with opiates, um, but you don't want to be a druggie, so you stay away from cannabis and psilocybin. What the fuck? Uh, it's just all these years of conditioning that it's bad, I suppose. But the other thing that's been freaking fantastic for me, and I think I'm going to do another dose today because I'm way overdue, is psilocybin mushrooms. They
Mm.
are great, and if somebody doesn't want to try psilocybin, that's fine. You can either microdose it so that there's no psychoactive effect, or take functional mushrooms. Everything from lion's mane, shaga, turkey tail. Those are all good, and they all help, and they all cause neurogenesis. So they repair your brain if you got a TBI or concussions or whatever. They all help. You don't have to do the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, but you got to
Yeah,
do something.
it should be it should be before prescription drugs, in my opinion, where it's like, okay, you have a bottle in your like wheel of treatment or whatever you want to call it, your escalation of treatments. It's like, maybe the prescription drug with all the side effects, including the black label that says potential suicidal ideation, increased suicidal ideation or suicide attempt. It's like, can we put that at the end and try maybe the psilocybin first? But I don't know what it'll take. We're trying. Like, I'm on a podcast this afternoon with Corey Tucker, the MP from Saskatchewan, who put the bill up last week for the private members bill to put the choice back into the doctor's hands instead of Health Canada, where it's like a bureaucratic organization that's making a choice on someone's health care. A doctor or a psychiatrist doesn't even sit on the board for your special access program application. So how does that make sense that someone's making a decision over your health care that's not your doctor? It's actually someone, a policymaker in Ottawa. Like,
Let's talk about Ibogaine. A lot of people still don't know what the fuck it is. So, from your perspective, you've become, from my perspective, you've become the Brian Hubbard of Canada in regards to Ibogaine. So,
I have to get,
explain
I
to
have to
the
put
audience. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gord.
no, I was gonna make a joke that I need to put a sweet Southern drawl on.
Oh, man, he's got the best voice going. I could just sit there and listen. Could he, like, if he did a bunch of audio books, could you imagine?
For real.
He's an unbelievable orator. And it always sounds like he's speaking scripted. It's almost Shakespearean every time he opens his mouth. It's incredible.
Agreed.
But how did you come across Ibogaine? And uh, tell me about it, man.
Yeah, so my first interaction with Ibogaine was about 3.5 years ago. I had a friend, he was going to kill himself for a while, but it was ups and downs and ups and downs. And during that whole time, I knew that instead of a guy killing himself, they need to try one of these crazy drugs, ayahuasca, 5-MeO DMT. What I didn't know, I've done psilocybin my whole life, but I haven't done any of the other bigger psychedelics. And I reached out to an organization who then flipped me to another organization, who flipped me to another organization, and that organization had no money. So, and that was a Canadian one called Heroic Arts Canada. And from there, I spoke with the guy that ran it, and he was like, "I'll tell you everything I know." Um, so he was talking about ayahuasca at first, and then he started speaking about Ibogaine, and then Ibogaine sounded more it's called the grandfather of psychedelics. So ayahuasca would be the grandmother. Ibogaine would be the grandfather. It comes from a root, like a shrub in West Africa, primarily in Gabon, where the whole bark of the tree, like you can take iboga, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert either. Iboga is like the whole plant material, so you're going to get a whole bunch of different stuff with it, whereas ibogaine is the single alkaloid or alkaloid they've taken from it, so it's pure ibogaine. It goes from iboga to ibogaine, and then once it gets processed in your gut, it turns into noribogaine, which just means it lasts a long, 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 long time. Whereas something like ketamine would have a half-life of a couple days. So the effect in your brain that you were talking about, neurophysiologically, patterns are happening. Networks of the brain that aren't talking to each other normally are now talking to each other. A lot that happens a lot with psilocybin, but the window of that happening is depends all on the different medicine. Ibogaine, they did a test. It was 3 months in duration. I don't know the exact stats of the other ones, but I'll just tell you, like ketamine's a couple days. They stopped the test because they had no more funding to do the research, and Ibogaine was still present in people's system. So if it is very, 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 very strong medicine. The trip itself is you take your first dose around like 8:30, and you are in the treatment room until almost 10 o'clock the next morning. Everything's medically supervised. I don't recommend doing ibogaine or iboga without uh, clinical professionals, and I am usually.
Haven't there been some deaths?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it's hard on the heart. But majority of the deaths that you hear about are related to people not being truthful about what they're on. So there's a ton of counterindications with all psychedelics, but definitely with ibogaine. That's why it is dangerous. Is that if you come in, especially from fentanyl detox, and you lied about the last time you took it, or you brought drugs into the treatment center and you continue drugs and then you did Ibogaine, then that's a recipe for disaster. I would say high percentage of all fatalities on Ibogaine is caused by drug interaction with someone not being truthful about what they were on and how long they were on it for. Why I champion clinically supervised treatment, especially when it comes to Ibogaine, is that before you can even go, you have to be screened. You have to have EKGs done. You need to have your blood work done. When you show up the first day, they do your blood work right there before any type of medicines are administered. That is, you get your blood taken and they do rapid onset drug testing and a litany of tests to ensure that you're not going to have any issues. And then from there, during the trip, there's a nurse that lives in the house that you stay in, and you're getting IVs, you're getting your vitals checked twice a day. There's a doctor that shows up. There's a doctor there the next morning. It's very, very, very well regulated and tightly regulated, and so it should be. I've
What's
heard
the
some
cost?
Expensive. I would say budget, if you're a first responder or a veteran, $700 to $7,500 plus your flights to San Diego or to Mexico, wherever. So you're looking at 10 grand all in, is what I tell people for rough math. So super expensive, but okay. If this is the most powerful psychedelic in the world, then what does that mean? It strips your receptors in your brain. So like, why does it work for people who have opioid addictions? Well, it literally strips your receptors back down to like zero. So you have opioid, you have cannabis receptors, caffeine receptors. All these receptors are just like put back to a baseline state. The Rick Perry, the former governor of Texas, I reference this quite a bit, where he was talking on Joe Rogan that he got his brain tested because you can see the age of your brain. And then he went and did, and however old he is, 65 or whatever, then he went and did Ibogaine. He came back. They did the same test right away. And he had like 7 years decrease in how old his brain is. So what is happening in the brain, very, very, very powerful. That's why they're looking into it so heavily. It's been around for a long time. It first was created or found for opioid use disorder in like the 70s. A guy was trying to get off heroin and he tried it and he woke up and was like, oh my God, I don't have the withdrawal that I would normally have. And from there, it's been an underground thing. It was used in Canada up until early 2010s. That's when you have guys like Jonathan Dickinson and Trevor Miller, the guys that run Ambio Life Science. They were detoxing people off of East Hastings Street in Vancouver. And then the government put it into an unregulated state. So it's not illegal and it's not illegal, which is kind of interesting because if it was illegal, then technically you could use it, right? If so, hard drugs, all drugs have been decriminalized is the proper word in BC, not made legal, but decriminalized, meaning that you can have 2.5 grams of fentanyl or heroin or whatever you want and nothing's going to happen to you. But if a drug is not regulated at all in that category, then can it be used? So Ibogaine's very interesting. It can be dangerous. It's a heavy trip. It is. I prefer it. This is all Gordo talking. I prefer it for people that have strong resilience is the word I put now. Special forces guys. Well, we like to just put that on a pedestal, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Someone who's been sexually assaulted, someone with high adverse childhood experience, someone who has high resilience, strong willpower, and that is kind of the recipe for disaster when it comes to mental health, where you have someone that's so strong-willed and they just like, nope, I can do it, I can fight it, and then they do lower dose stuff. They try they try maybe some psilocybin, they try ketamine, and they fight their way through their trip the whole time. They fight it, and never can they let go. And the whole point of psychedelics is to surrender. It's to let go and to like let it be what it is. What the trip is what the trip is. And the best way to deal with that is to surrender and let go. How do you tell that to someone with post-traumatic stress disorder? You can't. That's like one of the main things about PTSD and mental health is that you can't say, hey, let go and don't have control when that's one of the main issues with it. So Ibogaine, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. It's so strong and so
Can't fight
powerful.
it.
No, 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 no. And that's what I think people need. I think someone, I call it getting
Well,
your
isn't
tree
that what
shook.
when people talk about a bad trip, that's just them fighting it. It's just them resisting, not able to let go. Like my wife is definitely a she needs to be in control. There's no way she'd be able to do a psychedelic trip. It would freak her out.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like that either. And I think it would be hard for people like that. And that's fine as well. Generally, people
Hmm.
aren't using psychedelics until the point where it's, the way that we're talking about it, at least, is where they're at a point of desperation, where they're like, oh my God, I've tried everything. The doctor's tried everything. He's going to kill himself. They're going to kill himself. What should we do? And it's like, you throw out the word psychedelics, and all of a sudden, the person's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll try it. Because they're at a point where there's no other options.
I have never tried ayahuasca, and I'm not that interested in it because I've personally met many people that have said, "Oh yeah, I love it. I've done it 30, 40 times." And if you're doing it 30, 40 times, is it working or not? Like if it's so effective, why do you got to do it 30, 40 times? Like 3, 4 times maybe, but ayahuasca nobody does it more than twice.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
not ayahuasca. Ibogaine, nobody does it more than twice.
I would do it again for sure. So I've done
You've
it
done it once?
twice. No, I've done Ibogaine twice. This was my second
Okay.
time. There's crazy stats behind like how effective it is your second time for certain treatment modalities. So if you're trying to beat opioid use disorder, or it makes sense because you understand how to navigate the trip a lot more. The first time was like with a lot of people with psychedelics, you're just scared shitless and you're on a roller coaster and you don't have a choice. So the whole
Was
time
there a
it's like,
big
oh,
difference between your first and your second trip with Ibogaine?
uh, the big difference was myself and how I wanted to like interact with the trip. So the first time, literally, you're just strapped in, going, "Oh, what's happening? Oh, this is so scary!" And it was so scary, very dark.
Can you
No,
describe the first time?
yeah. Some people have amazing, beautiful trips. So never take what someone tells you their psychedelic experience was like and be like, that is how it's going to be for me. Rule number one, don't ever do that because you will be sadly and very scared, surprised about what your trip's going to be like. So my first time was, it looked like everything was under MVGs, green, very, very, very dark. The stars, it looked like I was in the catacombs or the sewers of France, is the best way to explain it, where big blocks, cinder blocks, like making up the roof or the tunnel itself, and then they were all being outlined with like matrix code. But the matrix code wasn't numbers and zeros. Like when I say matrix code, where it's you see that screen and it's all green with all the numbers coming down from the matrix, it was like that, but different, weird, like hieroglyphics almost, and it was outlining bricks and uh kind of changed to stars, and it was like a Disney movie where the stars morphed into a thing, and the thing like came up to me, and it was like 150-year-old woman, like crypt keeper, kind of super scary. It scared the shit out of me. And I remember took my breath away and being like, oh my God, like I'm gonna die. I was telling myself, breathe, breathe, breathe. I was just thinking to my wife, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die in Mexico doing drugs. Like this is such a bad look. And the the crazy part is like you're not moving during this trip. That's why you're hooked up to a heart rate monitor the whole time. Everyone's heart rates drop down, and you're just laying there, very, 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 very still. So as much as what is happening feels so lifelike and lifelike, it's not actually happening. You're laying there with your heart rate has gone significantly down. And so I just remember taking a breath, and it kind of backed away. I had some like super scary. There was three of them, three or four of them that came out of these like figures. And I just remember being scared. I remember being scared the whole time. Everything was dark. These things would be like standing at the end of my bed. I saw like a calf, like a leg rotating on a spit, which was super strange. And then near the end of it, I finally like felt like I yelled out to these things at the bottom of my bed, like, what do you want? What do you want from me? And then each one of them came up and touched my face and then like flew off. And when the last one did that and she flew off, the trip was basically over. I woke up and the music was changed and it was
Are there
calm.
any like profound lessons or anything that you were told that you could bring back with you?
No, definitely not. No, that's the thing is
Well,
too, is
shit.
like you get what you get. You get
Yeah.
what you're supposed to get, and that's why you have to have integration. And you do preparation before you do psychedelics. Dosing in the middle is when you take the psychedelics, and then integration afterwards to figure out what was going on. But I knew going down there, I wasn't doing the Ibogaine for a trip. I would highly suggest that to other people as well. Is like, don't do it being like, I'm gonna go see everything. Use Ibogaine for the physiological effects of what it's going to do inside your brain. So
Yeah.
being a guy that had a bomb explode in my face in 2009 and then 15 years in the military, in played rugby till I was 25, played contact sports my whole life. I knew that it was going to down regulate my system and do some work inside my brain. And I was fine with that. You do 5-MeO DMT after it, 2 days after it. So the first time was very intense and scary. And that was like the trip where I was like, wow, what the hell?
As
A
far
really,
as symptomology and whatnot, who were you before and who were you after the Ibogaine?
it gave me well, it stopped drinking right away. So right away,
Nice.
stop drinking, eating, caffeine, all I've ever wanted. I eat a pound of spinach, like a big bin of spinach. I go through a half of a bin of that every day in a shake with almond milk, protein, collagen, berries, and natural peanut butter and almond milk. And I eat that every single day and I like can't stop eating it. It's just, I'm never, it was just the most insane appetite for fresh, whole foods was something I didn't think was going to come from it, but was an amazing side effect of it where I just need clean energy at least once a day. Like I need that shake every single day. And that's stayed with me for years. You should do psychedelics. It's in the name, psychedelic assisted psychotherapy. So you should always have some sort of therapy intertwined with your psychedelics. So I came home and I started cognitive processing therapy. And up to that point, I've done therapy for 15 years at that point, but it was always crisis. It was always, I never worked a program. I never did any type of like, I'm sure it was offered to me, but that wasn't going to happen. And we made the plan to do cognitive processing therapy. So another offshoot of cognitive behavioral therapy, very data driven. I like it a lot. You go through it's heavy on an individual, so it's not the best for people, but that's why it paired so well with Ibogaine because Ibogaine chilled me out so much that I was able to go and into these experiences that I had that were so triggering, and I was able to deep dive them, rank them. How does it make you feel? And of 1 to 10, okay, is that logical? Does you being upset make sense? Does that situation even make sense? And it's like, no, it doesn't. And then you go back and re-rank it again. Okay, well, how does that make you feel now that you kind of looked at it through a third lens? Okay, I'm still angry, but I get it. And that worked perfect for me. And I was able to use that with the Ibogaine afterwards. And that was the best thing I could have ever have done. And it gave me such a huge pregnant pause in the knee-jerk reaction to feeling a certain way towards the situation that I was able to do the work. And by the time the Ibogaine wears off, you've put in all this work. Everybody thinks it's like the medicine that does the work. The medicine is just the thing that gives you the pause to do the work. The real work is the integration, is going through it, is remapping your brain.
In
If you,
talk
it's
therapy, it takes freaking forever, if at all, to get to the point where you can put your ego aside and see things for what they are as opposed to how you think they are, and to reset, to change your perspective on things, to look at things through a fresh lens. And with the psychedelics, it's just, there it is. Your ego is shut off and helps you see things more clearly. I swung for the fences one night with psilocybin. I did 14 grams,
Whoa.
14 or 15 grams. It was a Hail Mary, man. Like, I knew I was in rough shape and I didn't feel like fucking around. So I made this tea and I chopped up the mushrooms that I grew myself and put it in a tea. And when that son of a gun hit, oh, and unfortunately I didn't get launched to another dimension or anything like that. I keep hoping for that. And I didn't see any entities. I keep hoping for that too. None of that happened. But I did have the realization that we are not our body. We exist outside our body for sure. And that everything is frequency. I was able to see, and it was without judgment. When I think of love, I would be able to see what it looks like. And it's kind of like DNA strands, but humming and moving and twisting and pulsating. And it's a dusty rose, by the way, is the color of love. And then I would try that with all kinds of different, like, okay, what does hate look like? And then I was scared about the answer. Should have been scared. It was just a different color. I don't remember the color, but it was just a different color and a different frequency. And it wasn't good or bad. It was just different. So these are all just different frequencies. And it was really a fascinating time. But when my wife was speaking with me, she said, Mark, it was like speaking directly to your soul, because there was no ego there. I was like a little kid, I was just like a giggly little kid, no ego at all. And that's who you are. When you can take the ego and completely rip it out of you, that's the true you. And it's really hard for people to wrap their head around that. I think in the veteran community, like, there's a couple of different types of veterans, that's for sure. But you see the ones with, like, I do these big veteran motorcycle rides sometimes, and the people hanging on to that status of what they were instead of what they are now, that's all ego, hanging on to the roles that we once played or the things that we once did. And when you put that all aside, which is super difficult to do, what's left is the true you. And it's not, I'm a welder or a singer or a snowboarder. Those are just the roles that we play. What you are is just consciousness, and that's it. You just are. The roles are not you. And that is something that I try to talk about with my audience all the time. And I find the more somebody is process oriented, like doctors, lawyers, engineers, dot the I's, cross the T's, the more they are like that, the more difficult it is for them to grasp it, that no, you're not an engineer. That's just something that you did. It's something that you learned. It's not
I think
what you are.
it's important though talking to people about psychedelics is like trying to explain what it feels like to experience free fall. And unless you jump in a
I use that
aircraft,
exact.
there's no way to like
That's right.
bridge it. So when you're saying like, hey, just your consciousness and stuff, I would say it's like easier, and you're not your job and you're not this role or title, that you are just Mark.
Yeah.
Like just you, just that's it. No more other attachments, just like your personality, all that stuff that makes up you is you, not the roles and the jobs. And it's very affirming to do psychedelics because you get the introspection into who you are, and then you get to become comfortable with that. There's a reason why I'm okay talking on podcasts and making content and doing all this other stuff. And it's like, and even the transition from the military, the people are still asked, whoa, how do you do the transition? How do you do the transition? It's like, I have an answer that you're not going to like. It's gonna be called doing a bunch of psychedelics and looking inside and figuring it out. It's not some course that's put on by a charity or a training package. You could do it another way, guys, and you can totally do it. It's called Psychedelics and a good book, never-ending good books. How about that? So when people, you're right. The strips the ego is the most beautiful part. It's what fills the tank up. Whenever I take people that are suicidal and they come out the other side, and it's a completely different person. It's their true person, and it's just like you can see it in their face and how they carry on in life, and it's so special to see that, not to be a part of it, to be like, oh, look what I did. It's just like, wow, this person has found peace that they deserve. There's nothing like it. And it all comes from getting that mirror held up, showing you to yourself what you are.
This is the deal.
Right.
This is who you are.
And it may not be good.
But you're right. It's and I use the skydiving analogy all the time. I just did my last jump last year with Pegasus, and did one more free fall. Now I'm at 25 and I'm good. I think I'm done. I didn't get much out of it, actually. No? Did the free fall, like, meh. I was hoping to feel alive, to feel that rush that I have felt in the past. I did not. So
really, what gives you that?
Well, I sure would like to find it. It's quite rare. I think I better. I have an ice bath thing. Maybe I should jump into that once in a while.
Have you tried it?
I popped in and I popped right back out. I didn't have the guts for it.
I haven't set up my. I was doing it religiously for about a year.
Wow.
And it's like I should set it up. Yeah, it was the best decision for me. I still have to integrate it back in my life.
What do you get out of it? What does the ice bath do for you personally?
It's forced meditation. So I meditate every night, probably around 7 minutes. You don't need a lot to meditate. Everyone makes it a thing, and it's like, it's not. It's about, for me, it's about calming my mind and getting to a place where there are no thoughts. And so sometimes that's 6 minutes and 30 seconds of the 7 minutes of being like, shut the fuck up. Stop thinking of that. No, stop thinking of that. Stop thinking about thinking, Gord. Just like nonstop. What happened during the day? What did this? What about that? What about this? And the whole point, though, is to just focus on your breath. So I have a counting routine. I count up. It's like a huge inhale. And then I take a secondary breath, like a Andrew Huberman breath with the nose to top yourself up. That's about like a 7-second intake. Then I'm holding it for about 10 seconds. And then I'm letting it go for as long as I can, about 10 seconds. So box breathing, but a different version of it. And I just count it and I stay focused on the numbers. And of course, stuff comes in. Oh, what did you do? The thing that your wife said? Oh my God, I forgot to send that email. Oh, I need to do this tomorrow. But the whole point is to just be like, hey, bring it back to the count of your breath. And I guarantee you with that, everyone will benefit from it. And that puts me, it is the best primer I've ever had for sleep. And so I was doing it at the end of the day. I finished my day with that. And I hate the mornings, and I wake up early to work out. And the last thing I want to do is get in a cold plunge right away. Like, fuck that. I'm already awake. Like you're getting like the best of me. And I found I was ice bathing. I finished my work day with it. So around like 3:30, I would go, and I would only go for about like 3 to 4 minutes. And I got the temperature way down, and it forced me to get to the end of that 7-minute meditation where I was at like, yes, clarity. And I feel peace. And I've kind of gone through all the bullshit of my day. And now I'm ready to go to sleep. It forced that because it's so intense that you're breathing. You're not doing box breath, but you're breathing to try to control how overstimulating your body is. It's like lighting yourself on fire. Just so much. All the senses go. It's so overwhelming, man, that is what tunes everything out. And then that became like a secondary meditation in my day. And I love it. I need to go back to it. I need to incorporate it back in my life because it was the perfect way to end my workday. I go hard in the paint all day. And then at nighttime, it's like, okay, I have a daughter and I need to like be able to be present for all that. And the ice bath, wow. Physically, it made huge differences. But it was a cheat code to do forced meditation in 3 minutes. You will be so clear and so focused at the end of it.
Why did you do Ibogaine the second time?
I felt it opened a lot up, but it didn't complete. Mental health is never complete for one. So
Yeah.
it is a lifetime thing that you need to take care of and be cognizant of. So I knew what I wanted to get from it. I knew how I wanted to go into it. I knew how I wanted to interact with the medicine. And I've done enough psychedelics now where, as scary as something is, I hear all these masters of psychedelics and they're like, oh, I had this beautiful trip and I asked that these questions and this is what happened. It talked to me. And up to this point in my career of psychedelics, it's always just been, I'm on receive and just taking it. And this time I knew going into it that I wanted to interact with the medicine. If something scary happened, show me more. Thank you. Thank you. Just so much gratitude. Thank you. I was saying it in my trip, dude. I was like, thank you, Mr. Ibogaine. It was so scary, but it was beautiful at the same time. So the second time it opened up, there was like a giant tablet that was waved in front of me, like the size of a skyscraper, just like with the sounds. And it's crazy because Ibogaine, it makes you sound like people are talking around you. So as you start to get into the trip, you'll hear like whispering and you'll be like, what the, you'll look around and you're in a room with 8 people and everyone's separated and no one's talking. So I knew it was coming on. And then, yeah, huge wave of this like giant stone tablet, all under MVG green again, all dark. And it's cool because I'm like, oh, I think this is just how it's going to go.
Just for the audience, NVG is night vision goggles, and everything
Yes.
looks green when you look through them.
Yes. So everything was very dark, but the highlights were a muted green, like night vision goggles. And it had all the same hieroglyphic symbols across the tablet as I saw on the first time. So right
Were you
away,
able to write down any of them? Remember any of them?
oh yeah, oh yeah. As soon as I got up
Did
in the
you?
morning, I drew. I was like, give me a piece of paper, and I drew it all out. And so big tablet gets waved in front of me, and I'm like, I'm everybody else, and it's funny because everyone else is just like in it, hearing their stories. It's just like, yeah, I get it. It's your first time doing a heavy psychedelic, let alone a psychedelic, and you're just in the throes of it. Where I was like primed to interact with it this time, be like, show me what you need to show me. And so this thing comes across the screen, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. I'm like, thank you, show me more, show me more. I had a bunch of, and this is drawn out. I can surmise it in like a couple minutes, but it looked like Roman military men or like chariots and horses and like soldiers. And it went across my field of view at the bottom, small. And then it came across like massive, like 10 foot in front of me. I'm like, whoa, what's this? And it steamed off the screen that way. And then it was like a Rubik's Cube made of all those hieroglyphics, and it started opening and closing like boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, all the Roman soldiers things comes right beside me, right into it, and it all got smashed apart like Lego pieces. Went right into the Rubik's Cube and was like boom, boom, boom. I knew right there. It was like, dude, you're working too much in life. Like, and it's true. I was working too much because I am trying to save people that are killing themselves. And like the mission is, I went down there searching for balance. So, and I didn't have that before because I put the community before myself and my family. I didn't put it before my family, but it meant that I would have to work extra hours because I was spending time with my family. I want to be with my daughter. So, okay, dude, well, somewhere you're going to have to fit this work in. And I'm tired of working late and working hard. So, for no money, for everything's for charity. And as soon as I saw them go into this Rubik's Cube thing and get smashed apart, I knew right there. I was like, yes, I understand. I understand. Like, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibogaine, man. Thank you. And I kept on saying that. Thank you, Mr. Ibogaine. It was kind of like from a position of being super scared, just like, oh my God, thank you for showing me that. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you. Please just show me more. And these very scary, sketchy looking figures came out of the dark, kind of like The Ring, just like scrape black marker kind of imagery. And I knew it was him. I knew it was the same guy from the first time. And but every time that happened the first time, I was just like, no, get away. Like I was super scared. And instead I was like, yeah, okay, I'm cool with this, dude. Like, show me, talk to me, tell me what you need to show me. And they came right up like scary horror movie, like that weird, creepy kind of
Oh
cagey
God.
moving. Boom, right up to my face. And I was just breathing, just being like, all right, man, show me what's up. Show me how it goes. And things like they both came back away from my face. And then it like morphed into like an Aztec looking feller, still made of stone, but it was like so Ibogaine's been around for a really long time, like thousands of years. So I'm more reading into this that it's probably more of like a caveman looking figure, but everything had a very Aztec feel to it, even though Ibogaine comes from Africa. So these things came up to my face, they go back, they turn into these like Aztec looking faces, and then they just like go away. My cat's screaming right now, so I hope you don't hear it. If so, I can kick her out.
No, it's good.
And from there, I had these two like machines come out. It was like a paint can sized body, literally like a paint can. And then the bottom was like kind of another paint can, but with a concave bottom or a rounded bottom. And then it had like a cylindrical triangle top, if that makes sense. A cylindrical triangle. So a circle, not triangle, three sides, but it came up to a point, stacked, space in between, and they were white. They were like white. Everything else. That was the first time I ever had like a different color in my Ibogaine experience. And they came out and they started scanning each side of my body. And I've heard this a lot with Ibogaine, that like little machines will come out and fix your body, or like little men will come out and work on your body. They'll find injuries and then they'll go to work on it. And so these things came out and they had like beard trimmers. That's what it reminded me of, little white beard trimmers. And they started scanning my body. It was so loud, like buzzing. And they started scanning my body. And I was like, yes, like, do it. Help me. Fine. Like, help me. I've had 11 surgeries. Like, my body is wrecked. My mind is really, really good these days, but I'm pretty disabled with my injuries. I'm a porcelain panda. And, I was like, yes. So, and it was going to different parts of my bodies, all my different surgeries. And one came up to my head and worked on my head for like, it felt like 30 minutes. And it was so loud. And I had an IED explode in my face in Afghanistan, but it wasn't really necessarily my face. It came from behind me. I was the rear air sentry in a vehicle. So the explosion came like 2 or 3 feet to my back left. And that's where this thing sat for like 30 minutes, just meh. And I'm like, okay, I knew it was doing its work. And those went away. I saw my daughter twice, which was super cool. I saw my wife, not her face, but she was with my daughter. That was basically it. But it was enough. It was enough to show
Now,
me.
do you think, did you get the sense that it was real, like actually real, like it was, you were tapping into a different dimension sort of thing, or like
Oh,
those
yeah.
machines were real and it's not your brain? Because the experiences that I've had with psilocybin, there's no fucking way that I'm smart enough to come up with these images. Like, there's no way I got the horsepower. No way. Like the incredible kaleidoscope effect that's more than 3D, because the depth, like it's 50 layers deep and moving and like clockwork movements and the colors and the shapes. No, I think I'm a little bit above 100 for IQ points, but I'd have to be at 1,000 for my brain to be able to do what um, what I'm seeing. I'm convinced that I'm tapping into something else, that is not my brain doing it. It's my brain getting the hell out of the way so that I can tap into it. What was your sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the power of the medicine, though. That's it's hard to explain or even try to control.
Yeah.
Would you, I don't know. I don't like to try to like define that personally, because I think that is the beauty of the psychedelics, is that I don't know how to pinpoint it. It's just like religion. Like, I don't want to be put into one way of thinking. And then the more I do psychedelics, the more I realize how we don't know anything. We know very little. And
We
you
really
get
don't.
exposed, you get exposed to things where you're like, I get it. Now when Mark talks about this, or other people talk at different like spiritual planes or near death experiences, and they have these visions, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. That's it, how it keeps me humble. It keeps me so humble, because I'm like, whoa, 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 what is going on here? That this kind of thing can happen, that you can have these experiences. The 5-MeO is way different, way more visual and powerful. And that, I felt like I just turned into nothing. I felt like an atom in the universe. It was the
Wow.
most like pure
Which is really
spiritual,
all we are.
correct, ultimately. So like, does that bring us
We're
back
such
down
we're
to like,
such an infinitesimally small speck of dust. It's not even funny. The entire
right?
planet is. And so,
Yeah,
if the entire planet is nothing more than the tiniest speck, beyond imagination, how tiny the planet Earth is in the grand scheme, what does that make us? you
exactly.
know,
So people should like chill out, enjoy
chill the
life,
fuck
be
out. You're
nice,
not that
be kind.
important.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
And look how fragile life is. And yet people get so wound up and stuck on their train of thought, and I'm right, and this is how life is. And
Yeah. The know it alls, let me tell you something kind of crowd. Oh man, I wish I could just walk around with a magic wand and go bloop, 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 psychedelic trip. Like the world would
right.
be devoid of assholes if it was just part of the global culture
I
and
think your first
everybody
night
had
in,
to do it.
yeah, I think your first night in jail, that's what they should do. They should give
Oh
someone
yeah.
a macro dose of psilocybin, and they get to sit in their jail cell by themselves and get to think about what they did. And let's see what the recidivism amount
Two
is.
men
What is
enter,
it?
one man leave. Yeah, you go in there with your ego, you come out without it.
Right.
You only had an hour for me today, brother, and we're there.
Yeah. If
You
you
got
want
a
to
pop,
like,
you
I'll
got a
give you
pop smoke.
another, yeah, I'll give you another 5 minutes so we can kind of like wrap this up. So it's not just leaving people loose
Dangling.
ended if you want. Um, about Ibogaine specifically.
Well, where are we at now for accessibility to Ibogaine? Let's wrap up with that. There's been some good movement, some forward movement in the states. It's become more accessible in Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and other states. So, is it looking promising up here too?
No,
Fuck.
no. I say we're like pretty far away, but the sooner America does stuff, the faster we're gonna do it. Elbows up, but we're not gonna do anything until America does it anyways. So it's like, okay, it would be nice to see. There has been some talk about trying to put someone through the special access program for Ibogaine if we use certain parameters around it. So not necessarily mental health related, but cognitively related. So concussions, brain injuries, neurocognitive diseases like Parkinson's, ALS, dementia. That is the true next bound. So Ambio Life Sciences, they have a neurogenerative program specifically designed for people with Alzheimer's, dementia, and other diseases like that. Like my father, he's a veteran, traumatic brain injury, and he has Parkinson's. And it's like I'm begging him to go get it. They don't even know. They don't know, not him, but the system doesn't even know what's happening inside people's brains, that they're only just starting to discover what is the efficacy and the power of this stuff. And truly kicked off 3 years ago with the Stanford study, where they took 20 Navy SEALs down to Stanford. They did fMRIs, brain scans, all that stuff. And then they went down, got Ibogaine, and came back up. And large portions of their brain that were not firing before or looked like brain dead were now firing. And that's kind of was not the beginning, because I know there's lots of other studies, but that really lit a fuse under the medical or the scientific community to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is happening that you could have people with severe traumatic brain injuries have their brains start firing on imaging again?
So accessibility to Ibogaine, if you're Canadian right now, is I saw that Heroic Hearts is on your list of things that you're doing. So there's a Heroic Hearts Canada now, is there?
There is, but there's a lack of funding in the Canadian landscape. So think about how much people support the military, and then put that with something even more fringe, which is psychedelics, and you get zero help. More importantly, though, I sit on a board for a charity called Project Lifespark. So we just got our charitable status about a month ago, and the funding has turned on for that. So Project Lifespark is a registered charity in Canada that gets first responders and veterans access to Ibogaine and 5-MeO DMT treatment down in Mexico. We are partnered with several providers, all clinically supervised. We've sent about 10 guys so far. There's cohorts going summer and the fall. It is the only Ibogaine charity in Canada, and there is funding. So that you're going to start seeing more posts come out for myself. You're going to see me be a lot more active within that sphere for Project Lifespark. But I would tell anybody, if you're a first responder or a veteran, to apply right away, and we'll get you on a list. None of this stuff is fast, guys. Everyone thinks, oh my God. One, do you think it's appropriate? This sounds backwards, but like, do you think it's smart if someone's super suicidal to go get them a mind altering drug? Maybe. But like, what are the support systems around it? Is that person, isn't going to make that person more fragile? What prescription drugs are they on? What are they eating? What are they taking? What are they sleeping? You don't just do this stuff, guys. I know you want it to be that way, but that's not, one, that's not how it's done. Two, that we are at the mercy to these clinics. Ibogaine's the most hot shit topic in the world right now when it comes to mental health and supplements. And
yet so many people still
clinics,
don't know what it is. I had Devin Laird on the show about 3 months ago. And he's a guy that's tried ketamine and done all kinds of things. He didn't know what Ibogaine was. So I read him in on that. Yeah.
Yeah. There is access. If you are hurting, not in person. No.
Were you CSOR or JTF?
I was CSOR.
Yeah.
But I was a JTAC though. So JTAC's a command asset. So you're not like, sure, I was an operator, but I worked across CAN-SOFCOM. So I like to squirrel myself away down at JTF because that is the best place in the entire military to work. So why wouldn't you want to stay there? Yeah. But yeah, Ibogaine, Project Lifespark is your go-to. If you're struggling, like, reach out to me because I can get people onto cancellation lists. You're going to see it's going to get rolled out within a month now. I have a program that's getting unveiled. So my foundation, it's a peer-to-peer community call once a week where if you're a veteran or first responder, come and find out about it. I'm tired of going, I need a safety mechanism, a safety net for my inbox. I can't help people all the time through my inbox. It's going to fall off. I do too much stuff, guys. I work. And for everyone reaching out to me for help, what do you think I'm doing? I'm doing the same thing, but with government officials and researchers and scientists. I'm like, give me the data. So it's hard to keep track of my messages. And I built a program called Full Circle. So he takes a person comes in suicidal state. Okay, boom. They register on All the Way Foundation. That immediately gets you into a free once a week community call where it's 15 minutes intro, have a peer mentors, peer led guys that are extremely well qualified 30-minute share circle, 15-minute closing, 15-minute after that if someone's in distress and they need to speak to someone right away. In conjunction with that, so Stronghold Wellness is a veteran navigation medical platform. So a medical navigation platform. What does that mean? Well, it means that we talk about operator syndrome and we're able to get direct guys towards different treatment options. With that, we have mental health, we have counselors, we have psychiatrists, psychologists, registered psychotherapists, all that are trained in veteran and first responder competency. So they understand what we're going through. Then on top of it, they're trained in psychedelic assisted psychotherapy. You can't funnel a person from a nonprofit into a for-profit business without them explicitly opting in. I found all this shit out because, guys, I'm pulling together all the resources that Gordo has into one system. And what those resources are, well, you have to pay for some of them because, like, if you need to see a psychologist or a psychotherapist, well, I don't have money to pay for that. But if you are a veteran or an RCMP member, guess what? You have a Blue Cross card. So automatically you fall under the Stronghold Wellness umbrella, which means we have therapists and different alternative therapy treatments and all sorts of stuff. We don't provide it. We just tell you, hey, we have access to this stuff if you guys want it. And so a person comes in crisis to Gordo. Oh, I'm going to kill myself. Opt into the All the Way Foundation page, gets you into a weekly call. That at least grounds you. So you're with peers who are going through the same shit as you. And the mentors or lead guys have all gone through the same stuff of you, has all been suicidal, have all tried psychedelics, have all tried different modalities, all the stuff. They're the ones leading the conversation. That is the baseline, is a peer-to-peer call once a week. If you opt in to Strong...
And don't, for the audience, don't underestimate the power of peer supports. I was a member of a peer support group for years, and I led peer support for a few more years after that. And it saves lives, man. It saves lives, including your own. The power of community, because PTSD is, which more accurately PTSI, is an injury of disconnection. It disconnects you from yourself, from who you were, who you want to be, it disconnects your relationships with others, with community. So if it's an injury of disconnection, which it is, then the antidote is connection. That's why psychedelics work. They create connection. And a properly run, safe, non-judgmental peer support group is one of the biggest things that you can do, because it lets you know that you're not alone. So do it. Frickin' do it.
Exactly. So you get into this, you have the weekly call, but right away, if you opt in to Stronghold Wellness, well, right away, you're going to get an assessment done. Not an assessment for like Veterans Affairs, an assessment so that we know the state that you're in. Not Gordo personally or the foundation. The psychotherapist does his assessment. You will get ranked on that, whatever, red, green, yellow. Then that can be shared with the foundation. Then I know, which is the baseline question here, is, are you going to kill yourself? Okay, you are. Well, that means you're going to get a higher priority for me to put you onto a retreat. So I have now partnerships all across North and South America for psilocybin, Colorado, Oregon, Jamaica, ayahuasca, Peru, Colombia, Ibogaine, all across Mexico. I don't have the funding for it. I have partnerships with people, with organizations that may have the funding for it. But more importantly is you need, if you're that desperate, if you're going to kill yourself, taking $5,000 down, taking 10 grand down to save your life, guys, is worth it. So I get a ranking of what this person is. I don't know any of your medical information because I'm a nonprofit. I don't need to know that stuff anyways. But once you're in our ecosystem, not only do you have a once a week call, but you have all these levers. You have access to psychotherapists that are trained in veterans and alternative therapies. You have all the alternative therapies that are offered through Stronghold Wellness. And then you get into Gordo's world, where I have partnerships across North and South America to get you on retreats. We just trialed this on the last documentary. I have built preparation and integration for alternative therapies. Doesn't have to be psychedelics. For anything that's going to be a mind-altering transition for you, it could be transcranial magnetic stimulation. You should be doing preparation for that and integration, which is covered by Veterans Affairs. So the person goes, they come in, They get assessed. Oh, wow, this person's really messed up. Okay, I'm going to slot this guy on a cohort, a retreat that's going in 2 months from now. While that's happening, they're getting psychotherapy from a qualified person. At the same time, they're on group calls, listening in, finding out, hearing it from other veterans, what is happening. Then 4 weeks before the retreat, they run their preparation. They go to their retreat. They come back. They do 4 weeks of integration. Boom. Every single person that I've ever helped with psychedelics specifically has told me, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? And I always tell them, because I'm doing a million things, I don't know. I don't want to have to fucking think about this. So I always just say, go live your life, man. You deserve to be happy. Go live your life, and like, I'll let you know when I figure it out. And everyone's like, okay, whatever you need, man. And now this is it. What I need is for when someone comes back from treatment and they're ready to go, that they full circle come back now into the peer mentor spot. And that backfills your community calls and backfills people that are going to engage with the person in crisis. So you take a person that's suicidal, they go through the programming, and at the end of it, full circle, they now want to help, they go back in. So the program is called Full Circle.
Beautiful. Brother, you're out of time, and you gave me a little extra, but thank you so much for being here today. I've been super duper looking forward to it. The Canadian Brian Hubbard, Gord Hurley, and stay in line because I have a resource for you, brother. Cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. If you would like to help to save a life, share like the sugar bear, because sharing is caring. Like, comment, and subscribe. It really, really helps. The more people that know about this resource, about my show and the dozens and dozens of resources that I've brought to it, the more lives are saved. Suicide does not have to be the answer. It's the worst answer that you could come up with. How about helping somebody? Just help. So do share. Thank you.